14, 15 years old. His ability to follow directions, his intensity, his seriousness. He's a good guy. We're glad we were able to have him. He went through some adversity there at Penn State, injuries and different things, but he came out last year and was highly recommended by James Franklin, and did a real good job last year at Penn State. We were glad to be able to get him.
What it do, Houston, Texas? I figure I'd get this video started. But right now, I'm on my way to a gas station to give me some modelos and get this video started. So, the 2020 NFL Draft is over with, and the Houston Texans decided that they wanted to trade down their 5th pick in the 4th round, then later trade up by giving up 2 7th rounders to get a tackle, and then later on getting a corner from Penn State. We're going to get into that and my feelings about that. Honestly, I think that those moves is what ultimately determine the grade that I will give them after our discussion about it. And, it's not to be a downer, man, but I definitely don't think that the Texans maximized this draft. Coming out with just 5 players, to me, speaks volumes of cap space and your feelings about the current roster. I honestly feel like O'Brien feels like the players that he already has now, his nucleus is good to go, which is scary to think about because, like I believe Spitz has said many times, the secondary is still the same. All they added was an overpaid safety/corner, Eric Murray, and Jalen Watkins, who have been with several teams as well. Other than that, man, you lost, I could not remember his name, Adai. You lose Adai in the safety, and to me, you replace him with Eric Murray. To me, that's not anywhere a better pickup. Adai currently is still out there. No one has signed him, so it's interesting to see what they'll do with that. They obviously have cut players before, Vernon Hargreaves, and brought them back. So maybe they bring Adai back. But at the end of the day, I feel like not coming out with a safety in this draft hit you big time, because when they traded up to get that tackle, right after they get the tackle, I can't remember who it was, but they get Kayvon Wallace, and it's like, bro. Then you had J.R. Reed there, didn't take him. So it's interesting to think that O'Brien really thinks that this secondary is a secondary that he'll go in with in 2020, because, of course, we didn't get any pressure on Mahomes, but to give up that many points, man, some of those throws that Mahomes were putting in the Chiefs game was just crazy. Like, he was throwing balls in tight spaces where 3 of our DBs were just sitting there, and the ball would just go completely past their eye, and the next thing you know, their tight end is in the end zone scoring a touchdown. So tough to see that and that thinking process behind that. But hey, maybe the new DB coach that they just got, I think they got him from Tennessee if I'm not mistaken, maybe he can do better with the guys that he has there. It's interesting to see. But man, so if you ask me, Tony, what grade would you give the Texans? Look, in my past video, I said, look, they address positions of need, but I'm not going to give them a grade until they actually finish their draft. Now, I'm not mad at them for giving up all the 7th rounders, because ultimately you get a 6th rounder next year. And, the other 2 7th rounders, I mean, there was really much there you could pick up that they didn't really pick up. The unrestricted draft people that they picked up after the draft. So I'm not too mad about the 7th rounders. What I am mad about is you had the opportunity to pick number 5 in the 4th round, and you had stud corners sitting there, and you decided No, I'm gonna trade down. Now, look at the Lecky guy, the DT that got taken by the Arizona Cardinals. That was one of the players that the Texans highly interviewed and met with, and I can't like hold myself from thinking that did O'Brien trade down thinking that Lecky was gonna be there, because once Arizona gets him, then all of a sudden O'Brien feels the need to trade up and go get the tackle. Now, this tackle is one where comes from the blood, right? Has had his dad not only coach but played in the NFL. He's currently a coach on the Chiefs staff. So there's pictures of him celebrating the Chiefs victory, which, okay, I guess. I mean, I don't really know how to feel that. I don't know where his loyalty will ride now. But yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about it before. The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Texans, there's no escaping that. There's no escaping us facing each other in the playoffs. Like, it's going to happen. You know, so it's interesting to see what will happen there because, you know, I don't know too much about the tackle except for the fact that he's played left and right. I know he ran the program in Carolina. As far as new people coming in, you know, he was appointed to lead them and, you know, show them the ropes. But other than that, man, I don't know too much about him. There's not much film out there about him. But I could definitely see a place where they put him at right tackle and they make Titus Howard be a right guard. I've seen Titus Howard play right guard, and he's played in preseason and here in other games where players have gone down in injuries, and he was definitely beasting on there. And I want to say it was actually with Sharping playing right tackle and Howard playing right guard, so it definitely might have been preseason where I saw. But man, you know, he's definitely not going to play guard, so he's not going to play left tackle. Obviously, they already played Tussa, so unless Tussa goes out with an injury, he's not going to see the field. But as far as right tackle, I really honestly feel like they brought him in as a backup. Now, can he earn a starting spot? There's high chances that he can, because when you have Fulton at right guard, who's very inconsistent, I can definitely see them, you know, making this guy the right tackle and making Titus the right guard. It just all depends on performance, which is hard to tell from this stance, since one, we don't know if the NFL season will come back this year, and two, you know, they're not going to have their off-season schedule like they've done before. So very important things to watch for. Oh, all right, now we're comfortable. All right, let's really dive in now. Just squeeze this lime here. All right, so we were talking about the tackle, right? Let's just go over the whole draft with the Texans, man. Let me get this photo thing open. By the way, I hope everyone's doing good, man. I know there's new rules in Harris that are about to happen, where people will get fines if they're not wearing their masks. Thank God I don't live in Harris County, because, well, I'd be going through that crap. I just find it funny that you're forcing people to wear a mask, but where do I find it? Where are you supplying them with some? Freaking retarded. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So obviously, we've gone over this. Ross Blacklock at 40th in the second round. Now, if you ask me, has my opinion changed from when we drafted him? It has. Because, and I was kind of hinting that way in my last video. People don't think Blacklock would have been there for us, and maybe so not. But to get Zach Bond and then wait for Blacklock, and if not get Blacklock, you would have been able to get the A&M kid in the third round. Like, you know, that to me is a little bit better move than getting Grenard and Blacklock. Now, I like Grenard more than Blacklock. I feel like Grenard's ceiling is a lot higher than Blacklock. And the reason for that is I've shared some coaching tape in my previous video where it looks like whenever he's double teamed, there's not much penetration that's there. The good thing is he's coming to a team where J.J. Watt demands double teams. Sometimes Merciless demands double teams. So we'll have to see how it goes with that. But here's the thing. When you're playing defense and you're up front, you want to have players who are not going to get double teamed. Like every player is going to get double teamed, right? And the one player that's free, he needs to be able to make penetration and impact. That's the reason they didn't want to play DJ Reader. It was a great run stuffer, but other than that, like maybe you'll get 1 or 2 sacks out of him during the season, but not someone who truly wanted to rush after the quarterback. And I think that's what they saw in Blacklock. But like I said, I honestly think that whether they got him or the Mbuki guy from A&M in the 3rd round, you'd have been able to pick up Zach Bond in the 2nd round. And so to me, that grade is not terrible. It's not a C. To me, those 2 picks, I had gave them a B. Now, when they trade down from the 5th spot in the 4th round, that's when I begin to have problems with them. Because right there at the 5th pick, like you got excited when you saw, okay, in the 4th round, we actually have a top pick. Look, if you were going to trade down, the 4th round wasn't the one to trade down to. The 3rd round was the one you needed either to trade up or trade down, and you were only going to be able to do that by trading down your 2nd round pick. Now, were there calls or their options at the table whenever the Texans were on the clock? I don't know. I have not confirmed that. But if there were, Bill O'Brien, you got to pull the trigger on that, man. You got to get an extra 3rd instead of getting an extra 4th. That just makes a lot more sense. There was a lot more talent in the 3rd than there was in the 4th. But even when you had it in the 4th, I feel like he botched it. Because I strongly believe that what O'Brien was really thinking is, hey, this Lecky Fotu guy, this DT that's right here, is probably going to be there somewhere in the mid of the 4th. So I'm going to go ahead and trade down from the 5th pick, give that to Miami, and then get 2 4th rounders. Not only pick up Lecky, but end up picking up, he probably wanted to pick up Charlie Heck and Lecky. And probably, because I sure know for sure John Reed would have been there in the 5th round. Probably be there in the 7th round. I'm just saying. So when it comes to those, just having 5 picks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we picked up that guy. Who did we pick up? We picked up some wide receiver. Can't remember his name, but we. To me, he wasn't even the best receiver on that team. So Aaron Parker was the best receiver on his team. So for us to pick up that wide receiver, felt like we were just trying to get to the end of the draft. I mean, we even, like I said, is it a bad thing to move into the 6th round next year? No, but like you could tell your urgency to just try to finish the draft. I mean, even O'Brien went on his press conference before the draft was over, and usually, they'll wait. You got the thing in the back telling him so-and-so is on the clock or so-and-so's pick is in. And I'm thinking like, man, can you not wait until the draft ended before you did this thing? So annoying to watch. But man, at the end of the day, the reason why I give them a C- is because of how it compares to your direct competition. Who is your direct competition? Lamar Jackson whooped your ass last year. Couldn't do anything on them offensively. And yeah, you can blame on the fact that DeAndre Hopkins did not get that pass interference. But at the end of the day, bro, you didn't put up anything. And then you had the Chiefs, who you did beat in their stadium first time around. Second time around, you choke it all away. So, keep an eye on the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers had a bad draft either. But as far as direct competition, I think it's directly correlated with the Chiefs and the Ravens and whatever they're doing. So it's very interesting to see. The Ravens themselves, they picked up linebacker Patrick Queen. Hated them for that. They picked up a second running back to go with a 3-headed monster, J.K. Dobbins. They picked up Dustin Mambuke, who I thought, like I said, if Blacklock wasn't there, we could have definitely picked up this guy in the 3rd. Then they pick up Devin Duvernay, who is fast, slot guy from Texas, to go with what they already have out there. And like I said, if they end up getting Antonio Brown, we're going to have a long day. Shootouts for sure. And then, they had freaking 4 third-round picks, bro. It's ridiculous. Then they picked up linebacker Malik Harrison from Ohio State at 98. They picked up guard Tyree Phillips again in the 3rd round. And then guard Ben Bretson. Of course, all this is stacking. When they pick up linebackers, that's to basically not allow teams to do what they do, which is run the ball on them. So they pick up Patrick Queen. They pick up J.K. Dobbins to add to the potential that they have on the backfield.
they had a speedy guy at wide receiver, and then they had a lineman at wide receiver, and then they had lineman and another linebacker to basically help them run that run scheme. And then they add another defensive lineman for their 5th pick and Broderick Washington. They had James Prosh, who was probably one of the best receivers still left out there. Visionary stated it, was freaking promoted of him on Twitter. Many people were actually doing the same. And then they get a safety in Geno Stone. So to me, that is an A. What the Ravens drafted, that's what an A looks like. They maximized the draft. Then you look at the Chiefs, pick running backer Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They pick up linebacker William Gay. They pick up offensive tackle Lucas Niang from TCU. They pick up a DB, Jarius Sneed, Louisiana Tech. They pick another defensive end. And they pick another corner. All the things that they needed for their team. I think the Chiefs, if anything, if we get in a C-, they're getting a C. If anything, a B- for their picks. But to me, Ravens won the draft, man. Ravens won the draft, and it's going to be interesting to see. Now, some of the guys that we picked up after the fact of the draft, probably the running back is my favorite choice there. Other than that, it just looks like players that they brought in to compete, but I don't see any of them honestly making the 53. And even O'Brien himself said at his press conference, they're not trying to fill up this roster with 90 players because at the end of the day, they feel like the people that they already have, including with the people they drafted, is pretty much the nucleus of what they're gonna do. Except if for some reason, just like last year, teams were releasing players, 1st round and 2nd round picks that the Texans were picking up in waivers. So interesting to see. I think that's probably one of the good things that I like about O'Brien, because I don't think the Texans would do that too much in the past, where if players got released during the season, they would actually put a claim waiver for them. And so that's one thing that O'Brien will do during the season, and I commend him for it. You have to do that because as time goes, some players get injured, some players aren't performing. Aaron Colvin, that's why I think that corner that we picked up from Penn State is no better than freaking Aaron Colvin. And so to me, it was a waste of a freaking pick. It was a waste of trading down, because at the end of the day, you could have got a top corner with your 5th pick and just kept it moving in the 5th round. Maybe you should have moved into the 5th round. If anything, trade those 3 7s and move into the 5th and get 2 5th rounders. So, did they maximize it? No. Am I mad about all the moves? No, because at the end of the day, they addressed the 2 positions they needed, DT and a guy that can play linebacker and play out of the edge, which is adding more firepower to that front, which is what you need. And hey, look, if they want to go with the corners they have now, that's all good and dandy, but don't tell me that you believe in them because you have Vernon Hargreaves you only gave a 1-year deal to, and you only did it because you lost out on Chris Harris. So just keep an eye on things, man. Things are not so linear when it comes to the Texans. You can't just judge it linear. You got to look at everything. How does Bill O'Brien speak about certain players? What is his true opinion? To this day, bro, you have not heard the word Tashaun Gibson from O'Brien's mouth, which only tells me they're either looking to trade him or looking to cut him and release. Honestly, I think he deserves another year. He went down with a back injury, bro. That's like freaking crazy way to, end the season, especially so close to the playoffs. I think he deserves another chance. Give him a 3-year deal, man. At least give the guy 2 years. And if that doesn't work out, they move on. But yeah, man, that's just my spill.